Okay, so in the previous class, we were learning about what are the levels of planning and what are the steps in planning, right? So what are the levels in planning? As we know, as you have said, right, the levels of a manager levels, the manager levels will depend on the size of the company, right? Size of the organization. That is, bigger your company, there are more levels of manager level, right? And smaller it will be number will be less. So whatever the case may be, according to manager theory, okay, theories പ്രകാരം there are three fundamental or three basic levels. What are they? They are top level planning, middle level planning, and lower level planning. Okay. What is top level planning? Top level planning. Who does this top level planning? Top level planning is done by the top level management. And what is the result of this planning? The result of this planning is the strategic plan, right? Strategic plans means the one uh, strategic plan means one which define the entire goals and missions of the company. Okay, that is the strategic plan. They are prepared for 2 to 5 years, and they 2 to 5 years or even more. Okay? These plans are done for 2 to 5 years or even more, and what is the result? They'll tell us, they'll show us, they'll direct us to the where the company wants to go, right? So that is strategic plans, and that is strategic or the top level planning. What happens is once in the top level planning, the goals and objectives are developed, and these goals and objectives are further refined. Okay, if something is to be added, it's added, and if something is to be deleted, it's deleted by the other levels of planning. Okay, the second step is middle level planning. So middle level planning is carried out by the middle level managers. And what is the result of this middle level planning? They are tactical plans. These are tactical plans are the result. And what is this tactical plans do? They support or they implement the help in the implementation of the strategic plans. The strategic plans may be we need to produce 1,000 more in our company. That company strategic plan will be we will need to increase our production by 1,000. We need to produce 1,000 more pens. And what that is the strategic plan. So what is the tactical plan? How are we going to do this? So tactical plan will do the department A, B, C, and D. The department A will produce 1,000 bodies. Department B will produce 1,000 caps. Department C will produce 1,000 refills, and department D will put them all together like that. So that's the tactical plan. So that is how that is concerned with how the resources of the organization will be utilized. Okay. There are the time spans again 2 to 5 years, and the planning is oriented to functioning of the departments rather than to the organization as a whole. Okay. The third step is lower level organization, lower level planning. The lower level planning is carried out by the department manager supervisor, that is lower level of management. Right. So they prepare organization plan. So in strategic plans, it is decided that department A will produce 1,000 bodies. Right. Now, how these 1,000 bodies are produced? That plans generated by the lower level planning. How this is produced by the lower level planning. So department produce and we on this whether need to not. All these things are in the planning. Plans are prepared. Production schedule, right? Maybe done or maybe for long term also. So that is the levels of planning. So whenever you are learning levels of management and classification of plans together, so all these things goes hand in hand and pretty confused. The next topic was steps in planning. So how we perform planning, right? What are the different steps in planning? So planning is as we know, it's a continuous activity. We produce a plan throughout our life, right? We are preparing plans throughout our life, and there are several interrelated steps. So planning is a lengthy process and a step-by-step approach is adopted. No, as long as an organization is there, planning has to be done, and it's a very lengthy process. It will have many interrelated steps also. So the so we need to be careful about this, right? The planning is a lengthy process, step-by-step approach is adopted. And what are the steps? The first step is being aware of the opportunities, right? We need to know that we need to be aware, we need to understand that there is an opportunity there. The manager or whoever is at the top level, okay, you need to identify that there is an opportunity there. Okay? Being aware of an opportunity. And from where does this opportunity come from? It can come from external environment and also from the internal organization. Okay. So managers have to see the opportunities clearly and completely. Okay. മുഴുവനായിട്ട് കാണണം. Okay. രണ്ട് ദിവസത്തേക്കുള്ള മൂന്ന് ദിവസത്തേക്കൊന്നല്ല. It should be like it's for entire term. To see the operations clearly and completely, understand the feasibility of profiting from them. What is the possibility? How is it feasible? Okay. If I move like that, is it feasible? Is it possible that I can profit? Okay. In the profit could do, and also answer why, എങ്ങനെ, and how. എന്തുകൊണ്ട് and എങ്ങനെ. Okay. They expect to profit from the opportunity. So a manager have all the answers. Opportunity, he should understand the possibility, feasibility of profiting, and also why and how he expect to, and answer why and how he expect to profit from them. That's the first step. The second step, establishing objectives. So once the goal is set, then we need opportunities known. We need to set objectives. Okay, planning begins with the determination of what an organization wants to achieve during a specific period. Okay, so we know there is an opportunity like that. So how can we capitalize on them? How can we utilize them? So availability of resource has to be considered and arriving the objective. What can we do? Okay, then this is to be done for long term as well as short term. So objective provides department level objective. The company will form an objective. Okay, during lockdown we are going to do this. So each department, like we said yesterday, the restaurant business, okay, we are going to deliver. So the cooking department will have job, the purchase department will have job, and finally the delivery will have another job. Okay? All will have different objectives. Step 3, developing premises. Premises means targeting. Okay? So planning provides assumptions that about various elements on which plans are to be operated. Okay? What are the conditions? How do we are going to operate? That is planning premises. So premises are factors facilitating and blocking the goal achievement. Okay, it may help us. It may help us in achieving a goal, or it may retard us, or stop us from reaching our goal. The premises can be internal and external. So external premises are from the external factors outside the company. What are they? Like government policies, economic conditions, like unemployment, people having money to spend, like that. That is economic condition. Government regulation. Internal premises are factors that influence from within us. So that will be organization's policies, resources, etc. What are the policies of the organization? How much of resources does the organization have? Because all the organization might not have same. Right? Then an important term which comes here is forecasting. Okay? Improvising forecasting is very important because we are predicting, we are planning for the future, right? We are assuming forecast is assumption for future events. We are assuming this will happen. So the success or failure of planning will depend on the forecast. So we have different forecasting techniques. Okay? Forecasting techniques are there, and these using these forecasting techniques, you can predict other future for more or less accurate. Okay, it's not 100% accurate, but it is to a fair degree of accuracy. It is, and utilize them to accomplish the predetermined goals. Then the fourth step is identifying alternate courses of actions. What are the different courses of actions? Okay, so first thing is what we have to understand is to reach an objective, there will be different course of actions. Okay, as we said the example of Kashmir, reaching the Kashmir, its objective is to reach Kashmir, right? But we have options of going by bus, by car, by bike, by flight, by water, whatever, right? So different alternates are there. So we need to identify what are the alternatives. Okay? It may not be seen easily, but we need to work on it. We might need to think about it. Then we need to identify what are the alternatives. And then courses. Okay? Based on our need, based on our resources, evaluate courses. That is whether we said we're going for the intention that we need to evaluate the course. Then we are making a decision. This is what we are going to do. Then so duties. We want to go by like I have decided to go by flight. So I'll book my flight for this day. I'll leave home at this time. I'll reach there. I'll reach the hotel. That this time like that I need to plan. Right? Then reviewing the planning process. See if anything is there. If any problem or any feedback you need to take feedback my thing, we take feedback and change the plans if needed. Okay, നാളെ ഞാൻ വേറെ രീതി ചെയ്യും because it's my experience past day. Okay? You might have gone for hundreds of trips. We know okay, might be the changes. We need to change accordingly. Take feedback and change. Okay. So what are the steps in planning? Step one is being aware of opportunity. Step two is objectives. Third step is developing premises. Step four is identifying the step five. So step six, getting the course of action and find the reviewing the process. So what you have to understand is the question for examination might come like what we have done in the series examination, right? With an example, explain the planning process. So with an example will carry half the marks. So you need to be able to write with an example. What is an example? Okay? Write in the main heading, then with an example, explain the process. Okay? Also, question might come as write note on the planning premises. Okay? Write note forecasting. How reviewing the planning process helps. The question might come. The essay short answer type. Right? Process the planning process. Okay? So planning process there is judgment by object. So question plan or so manage system that integrates many systematic manner and is directed towards the efficient and achievement of organization usual. Okay, this is what management objective is a comprehensive management system. Okay, it's good. It's comprehensive management system. It many manager activities in this okay? Plan, organizing, staffing. Like that, we have many different organizations. What in a very systematic manner. Integrate in a systematic manner, effective, efficient organization goal objective and efficient organization objective. Yeah, management by objective is a comprehensive manager system. ഒരു മാനേജ്മെന്റ് സിസ്റ്റം തന്നെയാണ് that integrates many key managerial activities in a systematic manner and is directed towards the effective and efficient achievement of organization and individual objectives. Right? So this concept was popularized by Peter R. Drucker and also planning and performance evaluation. What is the uniqueness of this? Uniqueness is it enables subordinates to get involved in the uniqueness. Uniqueness. Okay. So what happens is in so here what happens is you never talk about subordinates. Understand that it might be this to employees. Okay, employees എന്ന രീതിയിൽ തന്നെയാണ് ലെറ്റസ് പറയുന്നത്. What is the uniqueness? Enables subordinates involved evaluate setting their goals. It enables getting setting their own goals and each I'm going to do this. It is for the achievement of the organization goal. Okay, being an employee, he is setting his own goal, and which will lead to the satisfaction of or the achievement of the organization goal. Okay, so MBO is basically a process where the superior and subordinate managers of an organization jointly identify the common goals. So, what is this process? So, MBO is basically a process where the superior and the subordinate managers of an organization jointly identify the common goals, define each individual's responsibility in terms of the results expected of him, and use the objective developed as a guideline for operating the organization and assessing the contribution of each member. Okay, so what is it? So processing in MBO's process where superior and subordinate managers of an organization jointly identify the common goals. Okay, so it's not that the manager, the top management will say you have to do this. No, what happens is the manager and the employee and the subordinate, they both of them together they will form the goals. Okay, രണ്ടാളും കൂടിച്ചാണ് എല്ലാവരും കൂടിച്ചാണ് ഗോൾസ് സെറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. Then define each individual's responsibility in terms of results expected of him. Okay, so what is the responsibility? What is the responsibility of each member? Okay, and the responsibilities are defined in terms of the results expected of him. Okay, So if your responsibility, if you're asked to produce 10 units, but 10 units are asked to produce, then so if you're asked to produce 10 units and you are producing 10 units, then your responsibility is over, like that, based on the results expected of him, and using these objectives developed as guidelines for operating. So you are asked to produce 10 units. So that is the guideline. Okay, that is the guideline for operating the organization. Each employee has to produce 10 units. Okay, so for example, if you say, as the example, 1000 units. Okay, the top manager says you need to produce 1000 cans. Okay, so the mid-level manager produce static plans like Department A will produce 100 to 1000 bodies. Department B will produce 1000 caps. Department C will produce 1000 refills, and Department D will assemble them. Okay, that was the tactical plan. Operation plan. Each department has to produce 1000. So Department A has to produce 1000 bodies. So they are doing by, we are doing it by management by objective. So the manager will call the employees and they will discuss. Say, okay, what I have to do is each of you have to produce two. There are 4 employees, A, B, and C, A, B, C, and D. So the manager will say, employees A, B, C, and D. Each of you has to produce 250 each. Okay. So sometimes what happens is the employee B. Okay, the employee B may say, sir, I'm new. I cannot do 250. I can do maximum 200. So maybe the employee D says, okay, so I can produce 250. I can produce more than 250. I'll produce 300. Like that, we have a discussion. Okay, so like that, they will define each responsibility. And so employee A has to produce 200 bodies. He has to produce 300 bodies. Like that, they will have a discussion. Okay. So the principles behind MBO is to make sure that everybody in the organization has a clear understanding of the objectives of the organization as well as their own responsibility. So everyone is clear that we need to produce 1000 bodies. So employee A has to produce 200, employee B has to produce 250, C has to produce 250, and D has to produce 300. Like that, right? So how are the steps? What are steps? The step is first is goal setting. Okay, so everyone has to be set. Everyone has to be have a clear and set common goals. So the first step is to clarify and set the common goals of an organization. Okay, what are the common goals? What are the steps in the organization? So these are determined by the top management in consultation with the other managers and are translated to every employee. Okay, it's not that, as I said, top തീരുമാനിച്ചു നിങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യൂ അങ്ങനെയല്ല, അവിടെ ഡിസ്കഷൻ ഉണ്ട്. Top manager, can you do? You have to do this. So other managers will say, okay, so we can do this, but we need to change this. There's a discussion. Based on the discussion, the goals are set. Okay, and these goals are transmitted to every employee. So Peter Drucker, he says the goal should be SMART. It's an acronym. Okay, short form, it's an acronym. The SMART stands for specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, Peter Drucker used the acronym SMART: specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic, and time bound. The MBO principle does not allow management to determine the objectives by themselves. Okay, there should be a discussion. Okay, they should take input from everyone. Then the second step is manager subordinate involvement. So after the organization goals are defined, managers set the goal for the subordinate, right? Like we said, 1000 bodies on a department A produce center. So the department A manager will say, employees A, B, C, and D, they will call and they say, each of you has produced 250 bodies, right? But what happens is, yes, again, the subordinates propose their job and select the areas which they must be effective during the company plan. Okay? So what happens is, the subordinates say, so, okay, sir, I can or I cannot produce 250. Okay, I can produce 300, like that. Subordinate will say, okay. Sometimes what happens is, a member from department A, so department A is in charge of producing the body, right? He might say, see, sir, ഞാൻ ഇതിനേക്കാൾ നല്ലത് പ്രൊഡക്ഷനൊക്കെ നല്ലത് എനിക്ക് അസംബ്ലി ആണ്. assembly like manager, I can work more effectively or more efficiently. So the manager will take into consideration. Okay. Then the manager and subordinates sit together, discuss the objectives, and reach on a joint agreement. Even discuss it. So employee, one of the employees said, say for employee C, says, "Sir, I am better in assembly, so can you please transfer me to assembly because I may slow down the work. I am better there." So they will have a discussion, and finally, on the basis of this discussion, they will reach a common goal. Okay? And this goal has to be achieved by the employee. So employee A has to produce 300 pens, employee B has to produce 250, employee D has to produce 300, employee C is transferred to someone assembly department. Similarly, someone from there will come here. Employee E will come and he will produce 250. Like that, there will be. So each and every employee is taking part in the. Everyone is involved in the goal setting. Okay, everyone is involved in goal setting. So accordingly, appropriate changes in organization structure may be made, like that transferring of employee C from production of body to assembly. Okay. Resource allocation is also to be done in consultation with the subordinates. So when you are allocating the resources, it has to be done by talking to employees. Okay. Because some department might need more resource, some might not. Like that. Okay. Whoever needs more should be given more. That too with consultation. Okay. So next step, implementation of plan. The plan has to be implemented. So after the objectives are established and resources are allocated, subordinates can implement the plan. Okay. It's clear. We need to produce 1,000 pens. Okay. 1,000 pens and produce 250. So that's set and clear. And resources are also allocated. If you want a space, you have given money to purchase whatever you need. If you want, and now you can work on it. You can implement the plan. And if you need any guidance or any help, any clarification, you can contact your supervisor. That is the third step. The fourth step is monitoring the progress. Okay. So it's very important because you need to have regular meetings with the managers and subordinates and discuss the progress in objective accomplishment. What is happening? Where are we now? Can we reach the objective? Can we not? Is there any problem like that? You need to have daily or regular meetings and discuss it. That is monitoring the progress. If you need to change something, you can change. If you need a new person, they can add. If you don't, then move the person. Like that. Then evaluate the performance. It is important to understand. In this step, the actual goal attainment is compared to the goals agreed upon. Okay. So ഇവിടെ മാനേജറും എംപ്ലോയും രണ്ടുപേരും കൂടി ചേർന്നിട്ടാണ് ഗോൾ തീരുമാനിച്ചത്. എംപ്ലോയി പറഞ്ഞു എനിക്ക് 250 ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല, എനിക്ക് 200. The employee has said. Similarly, the other one has said, I can more than 250, I can propose 300. Right? So he has to, if so that agreed, and when this performance evaluation does the actual goal, okay, I agree to prepare 300, and how much have I prepared? That is compared. Okay. The agreed goal is compared, and this step helps in determining the possible training needs. Okay. If there is some problem, then you can identify and say, okay, this person needs a little bit more of training, so he can perform even better. It's not that we are going to fire him, but we are going to train him, right? Then performance is also conducted based on fair and measurable standards. So the employee D, he said he'll produce 300, right? And he's producing 300, so he should be given more, right? He should be rewarded. And his performance should be appraised and rewarded. And this appraisal, okay, this evaluation, it should be on fair and measurable standards. So fair and it should be measurable. Like he's producing 300, he's producing 200. It is measurable like that. Then the feedback enable managers to take planning, corrective actions, and for achieving the desirable success. Okay. Based on the working, employees getting input from the top. Everyone give you feedback. And based on those feedback, you need to take the corrective actions. a block diagram, a flowchart will explain this process. Right? So whenever the question comes, even if question doesn't specify, with the help of a block diagram, with the help of flowchart, draw this. Okay, draw this and then explain the process. So what is the first step? Setting organization goals. You need to set organization goals. Then after the goals are set, superior asks goal for superior sets goal for, okay, plus the subordinate proposes goal for his job. Superior will set 250 each. Subordinate will say I can prepare plus 2 more. Will do 300. Will do 200. That proposes goals for his job. So this will form a joint agreement. Subordinate. Okay. Once these goals are start implementation. We will implement the plan, and plan is we have to monitor the progress regularly. And how is this monitoring done? We'll have regular meetings. Okay, meetings are done and have regular meeting. Then the next thing is we need to evaluate the performance. Evaluate the performance. How? That you're comparing the actual performance with the what actual performance is measured and what is the agreed upon result. Okay, I have agreed to prepare 300. That's okay. And based on that, evaluate if training is needed. Training will be required. If the bonus and promotion will be on, and it will be fair and it should be fair and it should be measurable. Right? And finally, you need to provide feedback. You need to get the feedback. You need to get the feedbacks. And once the feedback is given, okay, it will again influence the organization goal. Okay. Next time when we are setting up the organization goal, this feedback will also help us. Okay. Say for example, നമ്മൾ ടൂറിന്റെ കേസ് എടുത്താൽ നമ്മൾ ഇന്നൊരു തീരുമാനം എടുക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ മുന്നേ പോയ ടൂറുകളിലെ എല്ലാം പറ്റിയ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് ഓർമ്മയുണ്ടാവും. That will influence, right? That's the feedback from the future, the past tours. Okay, past ടൂറിന്റെ ഫീഡ്ബാക്സ് അവിടെ ഉണ്ട്. ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെയായിരുന്നു സംഭവിച്ചത്. This happened. That will in setting the next time class tour, you have those feedbacks on the future past tour. The next features and all we'll see. We'll have an again. So what are the processes? First step is setting the goal. You need to set the goal. Okay, and goal should be smart. Okay, smart means measurable, acceptable, realistic, and time bound. Okay? The goal must be smart. Then manager and subordinate will involvement is there. That they will both discuss on what has to be done, and together they will set the plan, and resource allocation will be also done there. Then they need to, the step is to implement the plan. Then you need to monitor the progress, evaluate the performance, then provide feedback. Okay, yeah. This is management objective, features and advantages and all. We'll see in the next class. Okay, so let me know if you have any doubt.